Morgen 3Eman electric tricycle that was inspired by the Morgan three-wheeler that was built from 1910 to 1950. It's got a 1 kilowatt electric motor in the hub and a 58 volt battery. That's a lithium iron phosphate. It started out with flat pieces of sheet steel, 29,000 sheet steel, and bicycle parts. This hub has got the motor in it, 1 kilowatt at 48 volts. So I'm pushing 58 volts through it, so it's probably about 2 horsepower. I wanted a fat tire on the rear, so I extended the width of the stock wheel that came with the motor, and had to fabricate a custom swing arm for it. And my calculations on the weight of the machine was off, so I have to have 2 shock absorbers in it, mainly because I'm fat. So up front, this is the 48 volt lithium battery, 10 ampere hours. My calculations and other people's are saying that I'll get roughly 20 to 25 miles of range out of it. This box here, this is actually a switching power supply for a Dell computer. And I've got relays and wiring terminal strips in here for the lights and stuff. The only instrumentation I have is a voltmeter and an ammeter, but it's got forward and reverse, and it steers, and it's got disc brakes and regenerative braking. This gauge over here is the ammeter that I got out of one of my old Mini Coopers. It's a Lucas, so we're hoping it doesn't start on fire. And it's just to show how many amps the motor is pulling. And at half throttle, it pulls about 15 amps. And on this side, I have an automotive gauge that I just found in a store. It's marked from 8 to 18 volts, but it actually represents 48 to 58 volts. I've rescaled it so that I can see what my battery discharge curve looks like, because at about 54 volts, the battery is half discharged. This cute little switch is the reverse switch. I don't want anybody accidentally switching from forward to reverse while moving, so I put a guard on it. But it's just a simple toggle switch. These switches here, this is the turn signals. Red is for the right, green is for the left. The brakes also have wiring hooked into them, so that when you pull a brake handle, either brake handle will engage the regenerative braking on the hub motor. You can see the steering is off a bicycle. And this little box here has got indicator lights for battery charge, but they're actually scaled for a 48 volt full charge, and this is a 58. And then underneath it's got a thumb throttle, just like some ATVs and snowmobiles. Coilover shocks off a bike for the suspension, and 200 millimeter disc brakes with bicycle calipers, right and left-handed. And the uprights are just fabricated out of tube steel. The front suspension is short arm, long arm, typical. And the steering, I tried to make a rack and pinion. Well, this is a rack and push rod, because it needed a push rod so that bump steer wouldn't cause problems. So I've got an intermediate slider to keep it aligned. It's still very simple, but it gets rid of the bump steer. Cast some little attention getting lights so that there will always be some movement at the rear of it. But I also have the turn signals that flash at the regular automotive rate. Brake lights. I have no intentions of driving it at night, so it's not lighted for night use. It's got full leather interior. I paid $12 for a chair from the Goodwill wholesale place, and it's all leather seating surfaces, and I'm kind of pleased with that. It's just glued to the roll bar hoop, and of course it's bolted to the floor pan. So the covers are quite easy to attach. And as an aside, for a paint job, I'm going to let my grandchildren and the neighborhood children paint flames. It's going to be realistic flames, not the stylized hot rod flames. Okay, you ready for me to get in? Here's how you get in. You just stand on the seat and sit down. And then you turn the ignition on, and when you got bolts, you drive away. Bye. This is full throttle acceleration, going up a slight grade. And that's top speed. I got no idea what it is. Except it's fun. It's about 10 miles per hour. Bye.